This week, Go Fishing visits Austria, a country bordered by no less than 6 others: Italy, Switzerland, Germany, Czechoslovakia, Hungary and Yugoslavia. After flying from Heathrow to Vienna, our final destination is Klagenfurt in Carinthia, which is the southernmost province, close to the Italian Alps. Whilst Austria is as famous for its alpine skiing resorts as it is for its composers like Schubert, Johann Strauss and Mozart, visitors can't possibly leave without trying the delicious home-cured hams and cheeses and enjoying the hospitality of the mountain communities. There are lots of fascinating places to visit, and where I am now at Landskrona Castle, there are truly spectacular views and a wonderful chance to see birds of prey in action, like goshawks, vultures, kites and falcons, and this wonderful creature, the Steinadler, which is really our own golden eagle, and it's very heavy to hold too. It's got a wingspan of something like 7 feet, and here you can see it flying high up in the thermals over the lake. And to start the fishing, I'm going to give my 7-foot brook rod an airing by stalking the wild brown trout and the grayling up in the cold, clear mountain streams. And here we are on the beautiful Guil River. It's about 100 miles from Klagenfurt, west of Klagenfurt, near the village of St. Lorenzen. Really a beautiful spot. The only snag is, as you can see by the river, we had a very strong thunderstorm last night and it's put far too much water in this little river. It's about a foot above normal, very low visibility, and belting through, and it leaves me only a few options with the fly rod. It's such a shame, but it's such a pretty spot. We're going to have a go anyway. I'm just flicking a heavily leaded nymph upstream here into this very fast run. There's a little bit of a slipstream here, and perhaps there'll be 1 or 2 trout holding in there. It's really botch fishing, because normally this stretch would be on the dry fly and it would be superb, and the only way to do this is just to creep about along the inside of the fast water and just fish these little runs. It's beautiful weather. Hello. Yeah, we're in. Look at that, would you believe it? It's gone downstream in that fast water. That took that very gently, far more gently than I would have imagined then. And he's tiny as well, look. Oh, he's absolutely tiny. I don't think I'm even going to bother to net him. Oh, it's a beautifully spotted brown trout. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. He's only lightly hooked, so look at that. He's a bit on the lean side. He's got beautiful red spots. Beautiful little fish. Here we are. Now what's this? It's a good fish. lovely that this water's clearing. I was getting very worried that we'd come all this way up into the mountains for absolutely nothing. What have we got? Oh, it's a lovely little brownie. What a beautiful little fish. Whoops. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Hold still. Whoops. Look at that. A wild brown trout. Big fins. Absolutely immaculately spotted. Well, I don't know. I didn't expect any canoes to be coming down here. Morgan? Oh dearie me, I think that's probably done the trout fishing. I was going to move down to one or two of those pools there and perhaps go upstream. All these miles right up in the mountains to get away from it all, and it's like Henley Regatta. Austria's strength in its fishing potential is that if you find the rivers out of sorts, well, you can always come down to the floor of the valley and try the lakes, which is exactly what we've done. But looking at these lakes now, it's hard to believe that through pollution they were slowly dying back in the 1960s. That's when the Austrian government stepped in and built an underground ring canal around all its lakes at a staggering cost of over £600 million to divert sewage and industrial waste, so that today only mountain water streams enter these lakes, resulting in crystal clear water enjoyed by swimmers and anglers alike. Isn't it a pity our own waterways in the UK can't be given a similar priority? Now, a spot I fancy fishing, which I've already baited up in readiness for an early morning start, is within casting distance of a reedy shoreline, approachable only by boat, so I shall have to find someone to ferry me out there. Well, here we are in the Rosenthal Valley on a beautiful water called Lake Faack, or as the Austrians say, Faaker-See, the sea part simply referring to the lake. 6 o'clock in the morning, the mist's coming off in quite heavy clouds, going through the fir trees and up into the mountains behind me. The water here is very, very clear. So what I've done is baited a spot about 80 yards out, and I've put a little white marker out there. Put a lot of corn and biscuit type dog food on the bottom, sinkers. And we're going to hopefully catch some carp. And it's the first cast of the day. That's not too bad. That's about 20 feet to the left of the marker. I might be able to get the other rod a little closer than that, so I'll move it over a shade. I've got 12-foot rods, a size 4 hook, and a 2-ounce bomb to get the distance. Due to the clarity of the water, you really do have to fish at distances on these lakes, unless you can find a patch of reeds and deep water close in, which some of the lakes in Austria you can. In fact, you're fishing in 20, 30 foot of water just as many feet out. I'm just sinking the line now. That's lovely. I'll switch the alarm on. quite a quite a raucous sound this time in the morning. Right, both clutches are adjusted. Switch the other buzzer on. Oh look, we had a twitch then. And let's wait events. Can't see any bubbles at the moment, but there's a lot of loose feed and hook bait fragments on the bottom near the marker. Oh, missed that one. Wow. Well, that was a good bite. I don't know how I missed that. Strange. Well, I'm afraid I missed the only bite, and it's a pity we didn't have more time to spend at Faaker-See, because in all these Austrian lakes there's tremendous stocks of quality carp, plus some pike and Wells catfish, big lake trout too. And really a short morning stint doesn't do any of them justice. But right now, I'm going further down the valley to another lake, a much smaller water, that's got some very good stocks of carp, some mirrors, commons, leathers, and I believe there's a few grass carp too. There's certainly a wonderful diversity of fishing in Austria. We're now at one end of a very long, narrow lake that winds itself at the bottom of the valley, completely different from the clear waters of Faaker-See. This is quite shallow and quite coloured too. There's the odd fizz of bubbles here and there, and the odd mirror grubbing about on the bottom. In fact, it's rather like some of the waters that I fish back home. So I feel very comfortable here. Plenty of mallards on the surface. Lots of bees and butterflies. And the plants along the margins. It's a very lovely place. There's one or two good fish right through the middle here. It's a sort of lake that you can just wander around with a net and a rod and a loaf or a tin of luncheon meat and just opportune fish. Pick off the odd fish as the situation arises. Now I put a few crusts in this corner of the lake a little while ago, and there's one or two good fish just taking them down confidently amongst the little rud on the surface. But when they're taking them, they look a bit hesitant, so well, there's one or two good leathers and mirrors, and I saw the odd common over the back there. I haven't seen any grass carp with them yet. I'm just putting out one or two big crusts. There's a lot of little rud on the surface that could be a nuisance, but oh, that's a good fish. Took that piece then. I've been feeding these up now for about 10-15 minutes, and they seem, whoops, fairly confident. So I think I'm going to put my hook in the next bit and see what happens. Lovely fishing, floating crust, it really is. And there's a fair old fish out there, so I've got a fairly large piece on. Got a little 10-pin controller float, just to give me the distance. That's lovely. Oh, there's a fish up straight away for that one. Did it take it? Yes, it did. We're in straight away. Look at that. That's incredible. Oh, it's a good fish too. It's trying to get under the trees along the far bank there. I'm going to have to give it a bit of side strain here. Can't really get too far. It's just fringing those trees now. Wow. Oh, this is a good fish. Nah, I've turned it. I was a bit worried then. Turned it. Give it a little bit more on the clutch. Wow. That came up and really banged that crust then. Oh, it's a lovely fish. It's really fighting hard too. They're very thick set, the mirrors and the leathers in this lake. It's not a monster, but it's going very well. Oh, what's a nice leather. It's a good fish. Very good fish. That's got to be pushing 20 by the look of that. Let me get a little bit closer here. Very gently. Slacken the clutch right off. It's dunked the net. It's not ready yet. It's a lovely colour. It's one of those ones dark along the back and a very light golden belly. Beautiful looking fish. Very deep and thick set. No, it's still not ready. Whoa, it's got a lot of a lot of power. A lot of power. I've only got a 9-pound line on here, so I can't be too heavy with it. That's definitely an upper double or a low 20. That's bigger than I first thought. Come on, come to Johnny. Come to Johnny. Nearly ready, nearly ready. And he's in. Oh, gotcha. Wow. Oh, that is a good fish. Oh, that's well over 20 pounds. Look at the size of that. That's beautiful. It's a leather. It's a complete golden leather. Beautiful fish. Oh, it's probably 20, 22. About 5 inches thick across the back. Well, Austria's certainly got some wonderful carp fishing. There's a mirror bubbling just down here to my right. I'm just gonna, I haven't got any weight on the hook at all, but I can see it's bubbles. I'm just gonna plonk that out on top of it and just watch the line. The float is completely really by the by. 1 foot wrong here. Oh, I can see them. There's a big patch of mud they disturbed. What I'll do, I'll cast beyond it and then slowly bring it back over where they are. Now they're about there, I think. The flake sunk through the muddy water. And there's fish moving there. The float just twitched then. Here we are, we're in. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's a good fish. Wow, that's gone 15, 20, 30 yards. Whoa. It didn't make any difference there not being any, I can't do anything with this, weights on the line then. The flat peacock quill just shot off. Oh, this is a good fish. Really good fish. It's that good, I've really had to let that get a fair way away from me, because in this shallow water they can't dive into the bottom. They have to run, and there's no way you're going to try and do anything with a fish like that. I don't want him to get into those sedges under my own bank, because there's all sorts of twigs and branches there. Oh, up you come. Oh, that is a lovely fish. That's well over 20 pounds. It's about 6 inches thick across its back, and it's not having any at all. It's just swimming around at will. I think what I'll do, I can't really net it here. I think I'm going to move downstream, or rather along the bank, still taking line, very slowly. There's some stems of purple loosestrife here. I have to be careful not to tread on those. It's lovely to see all these wildflowers everywhere. It really is a beautiful spot, this. Right in the middle of the woods. Oh, look at that. That is a lovely fish. Haven't been so excited for ages. Oh, that is a very thick fish. Wow. Wow. There's a lot of noise coming from the woods there. I think there's some kids taking the high pathway through the pines there. Oh, that is a beautiful fish. It's a two-tone mirror. It's very powerful. Wow, that's very thick. Very thick. Oh, gotcha. Oh, that only just went in that net. Only just. Now, I'm going to have to be careful with this, because this is a very heavy fish. Yes! Look at that. That's a whopper. Woo! Oh. Oh. Look at that. What an absolute clonker. Well over 20, probably nearer 25 pounds. Superb fish. That's well over a foot deep and something like incredible 6 inches thick. Look at the width of it. Look at that. That is incredible. What a superb creature. Well, I don't know, we've enjoyed the fishing up into the mountains there for the trout, and because the river was too heavy we couldn't catch the grayling, we've come down into the valley.